Well, folks, we've had to jump through some hoops here this morning to get everything working on Zoom and getting all the computers connected. But I finally have Francis with me, and Francis is the one that initially gave me the Flower of Life Award uh, for a Peace Award honors list, it says. And Francis, I don't think we've ever made a video together, have we? At least not
No,
for
we
a
have. I think we did
long
probably
time
two or
ago.
three. Yeah. The last time we did a video together was about, was it 20? I was in LA at that time. Probably about maybe a year and a half ago.
Okay. I thought we had done one, but I don't remember all the things. Anyway, we're going to talk about the Great Awakening, and this is going to be like an update for what's happening now from Francis's point of view. So please talk to us and tell us what do you see going on?
Well, there's so much thing going on at the moment, isn't it? There's, I mean, with this pandemic, which some people have termed pandemic, there's just so much going on that it gets you to a point wherein you're sort of at a loss on what to hear, what to see, what to believe. It seems like it, gives you confusion about what's really is going on. I'm a nurse by profession, and I'm reading a lot about what really is this coronavirus thingy, and so many information from all places. And you have like China saying that it's the US that started it. You have the US saying that it's China that started it. And of course
it's the New World Order that started it.
That I can agree definitely, and I can agree with that definitely. The thing is, a lot of people are waking up to what's going on right now, and for some people, it's probably shocking for them to come this late into the game of waking up to the reality that we live in. For you, and I mean, I'd like to think that mine started sometime in 2001 or thereafter. Of course, in the 90s, I have had some sort of eureka moments wherein you hear news, and for some reason in your deepest soul that doesn't sounds correct,
it didn't resonate with you,
or it doesn't resonate, there's something really odd with it, there's something really wrong with it. So it's I had those moments in the 90s wherein I I'm sort of a what's the proper term? I cannot find a proper word to. I cannot necessarily agree with what I'm hearing, basically. But at the time, but at the time there were no information, there were no internet, there was nothing at all to sort of look at except for books. And of course, books are not necessarily easy to come by at the time, because the knowledge, the information are pretty much controlled by those who are in power. So you can only have access to a book which is needed for you to become a working
slave
robot, basically, for them, if you know what I mean. So, but now there's so much, the awakening is accelerating big time. A lot of people are just shocked with what's going on. I mean, with the documentary of Out of Shadows, full of cabal, and then you have Rodriguez, the boxer David Rodriguez, who come up recently, who had an interview with Eisenhower, and talking about pedophilia and adrenochrome and all these things. Things that I'm sure you are aware of many years back, and people now are just getting to know and getting aware of. So there's a lot of confusion going on. Mm-hmm. But I'd like to look at it in a good way. I'd like to think that it's, I don't know if it's at the middle or the beginning of but I believe that we are now in the Great Awakening period, basically.
Yeah, we're aware of things because of the internet, which was, of course, created to spy on us. But we actually were able to access information that had been hidden from the majority of people for a long time. And
Mhm.
there is an awakening. There's no doubt in my mind that people are waking up to some of the issues that we face in humanity.
And I think uh, people, especially those like you and others who are making videos of trying to wake people up or red pill people up, I think people nowadays are very much uh, in the thinking that the enemy are pretty much well defined, and we know who they are, basically, from the top to the bottom. So there's no escaping for them, to be honest.
Well, some people have said that Fauci is really high up. He's above the Pope even in the Illuminati thing.
you
Now,
know,
I don't know
you
if
know
that's true, but that's the allegation that some people have made.
well, there's a saying that action speaks louder than words, and the way that I haven't read his biography, what have you, but I've followed this pandemic from day one, and come across his name, and things just doesn't add up, and then you start try to get information here and there, and then you try to connect the dots, and connecting the dots seems like it takes you to that uh, thinking of what you just said, that he's pretty much high up in there, and I like to agree that that's the case.
Yeah, it troubles me that he's always standing next to Trump. But
Oh, yeah, it's
keep your enemies closer.
yeah, well, that's supposedly the from the book of The Art of War by Lao Tzu, is it?
Yeah, I think so.
But having said that, I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to me. Somehow I kind of like becoming a doubting Thomas, wherein you have this
Welcome
guy,
to the club.
like, you have this guy, pretty much uh have a big say, a big influence into the the um
Current
the
events.
the current events, what we are to do and what we are not to do. He's pretty much have a big influence on about the lockdown and what we should be taking in terms of medication, how we should act, and all that. To me, it's just crazy.
Do you take medication?
No, no, not really. I don't see the need to. I mean, apart from my vitamins and
Oh yeah. Well, that's not medication.
yeah, I like to subscribe in the old saying of make your food your medicine and your medicine your food. Although sometimes, sometimes I fail on that, because every now and then I crave for the junk food, but I try my very best to subscribe to healthy eating as much as I can.
Yeah, as I've said in quite a few videos, I still like cheese and ice cream, real cheese and real ice cream. But I'm mostly a vegetarian. I mean, I only eat. I've only eaten meat for like the last 3 or 4 years on Thanksgiving. Time I can have a little bit of turkey.
I'm trying to avoid meat, but it's not so easy. I feel like I still need it. Although, yeah, more and more nowadays, I'm eating more vegetable and fish. But
What blood type are you?
oh, good question. I don't remember now. What's
Well, it's either A or O, generally speaking. They're the
am I?
two most common. I mean, I'm an A, and they say people with an A blood type can be vegetarians, but people with O need meat in their diet.
Right. That's a good.
I don't know that that's true, but that's what I've read.
I don't know as well. I'm not sure of that. I don't even remember what blood type am I, because I mean, I go to work. I work in a hospital, but not really to, to check my laboratory results. Basically, it's other people. So, and I'm thankful that way that I have a great health. I'd rather be in the other end of the equation wherein I'm trying to help people rather than me getting the help from the healthcare workers.
Yeah, well, the reason I know mine is because when I was in the Army, when they drafted me, it has the blood type right on the dog tag.
Oh, right. In the dog tag itself.
Yeah, it's actually
Oh, well, it makes sense,
right
doesn't
into
it?
the dog tag.
Yeah, it makes sense because if you're a soldier and you have, get into trouble and you might need a blood transfusion, then they would know right away what sort of blood type you
Exactly.
are.
That's probably why it's there.
Well, I'm guessing it, but that makes sense to me.
Yeah. Well, that's why I know mine. I probably, if I didn't have that dog tag and have to wear it for the time that I was in the Army, I probably wouldn't know that I was an A positive, because why would I?
Yeah, that's fair enough. How long ago since you were in the army? Oh, hang on, my something popped up with my laptop. I'm just gonna close it. Okay.
Well, I was drafted in the Army in 1966 and served about 14 months. And I was really gung ho. I scored really high on the battery of tests, and they said, "Oh, you're officer's material," and they were going to send me to officers candidate school. And then when I went home after my basic training and I came back, they somehow I was moving from one base to another base, and they lost my records.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to do things all over again. And then they found my old records after I had gone through the hoops again. And by the time they were ready to send me to officers candidate school, an officers candidate graduate had become the commanding officer of the unit, and he was foul-mouthed, and I used to walk out of, he'd start using profanity and stuff like that, which was really against my training. Mm-hmm. And I would go and I'd sit outside of his office and wait for him to come back in. I'd walk right out of the classes and everything else, and I'd say, that's language unbecoming an officer. The first officer that I had was a West Point graduate, and he was just a gentleman. He was really a gentleman. Mm-hmm. This guy was not. But he said, "You don't belong in this man's army," and recommended an early discharge. And when they gave me the opportunity, I took it.
Well, I think it's a good way, because I understand, meeting several people who are in the army or navy or whatever you. It seems like a lot of people wants out of it, and it's apparently it's not easy to get out of it.
Well, it depends. I never had an Article 15 or any disciplinary action taken against me, not once. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I was polite but firm. Mm-hmm. And obviously I had very strong convictions, and they, even that officer did not hold it against me. Yeah. To him, I was just a little bit crazed by my religious training.
We're talking about the Great Awakening, and there is such a thing as Q. I'm not sure if you've heard of it.
Yes, I follow Q posts.
And it comes across to me as if there seem to be a lot of people in the military in that group, which is again a great thing, because these are soldiers who carry guns and train to fight, blah blah blah, and they're fighting. If we are to believe that, I'd like to believe that as well, that Q is fighting for the good side. So
some say Q is a Kennedy. Others say that Trump is actually one of the Qs himself.
Well, there's supposedly several of them, isn't it?
Yes, there are.
I don't know how many.
I don't know either.
I follow several people who's trying to decode them, like Dustin Nimos and just Jordan Sayer and the Praying Medic and all those. But I don't necessarily have all the time in the world to get to every video or every post, but
welcome to the club.
but the general perception I'm getting is that there seems to be a great awakening happening in the military as well, especially with the Q thing.
Yeah, and it needs to happen there, and maybe some of the military are actually draining the swamp as we've been told.
I hope so.
Rescuing children and demolishing deep underground military bases. And
yeah, what do you believe that there are children who are being saved?
I have had,
because we're not seeing any evidence at all.
Well, I've had a friend that lives right across the river from Manhattan in New Jersey, and they went over there going all over Central Park, looking for these alleged tents where they're bringing the children up.
Mm-hmm.
And they said they couldn't find the place at all. But I have other people that insist that it's there. So I don't know. Again, I had an eyewitness that was looking for it. Couldn't find it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people putting out videos about children being saved, and
I know,
blah blah blah, by the thousands, by the hundreds, what have you.
And I'd like to believe it's true.
I'd love to believe that it's true. I hope it's true as well, because with 800,000 children missing each year in the U.S. alone, is it U.S. alone? Or I
don't remember the exact numbers, but
it's either U.S. alone or the whole world. I don't remember now. But that's a lot of that's a lot of kids. That's insane, to be honest with you. That's scary. And I've seen some of the photos that are really very graphic, and it makes you really, really angry, but makes you feel a lot of emotions. It makes you feel like you want to fight. It makes you feel at the same time being helpless. At the same time, it makes you feel like questioning God. At the same time, it makes you feel somehow empowered because you have the knowledge, and that you can do something to at least prevent that from happening to your family or your friends.
Exactly.
Or what have you. So it's a lot of feelings, it's a lot of emotions all mixed up when I see those graphic photos, because some of them can be really, really scary. This one that's recently circulating on the news feed of Facebook, which is a Chinese kidnappers they were caught, and they were caught and they were followed into some kind of warehouse, and they found a lot of dead bodies in the warehouse, basically. And they've shown the video, and it's so graphic, kids in eyes and all that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's so crazy,
Yeah. So anyway, I mean, what do you see that might uplift those that are listening? I get accused of too much hopium.
Well, you posted a video, I think, a few days back, and I did say that if we lose hope, there's nothing much left for us, really. So we just have to hope for the better. I like the work of Gregg Braden, because he looked into a lot of ancient text in relation to manifesting what you want. And basically the premise is that the more you look into like positive words, positive sort of mindset and what have you. That's what you manifest in your life. With what's going on right now, a lot of things coming up, coming out into the open. I'd like to believe that we are actually winning the fight of good versus evil, because at least all the bad players are being outed, and
This
that
is true.
means they're placed in a corner wherein they're not necessarily able to pretty much do what you want to do. Like for example, a lot of people now are have awoken to the fact that Lady Gaga is not a very nice person.
Along with
Bill
many others in the entertainment industry.
Yes, and Bill Gates' vaccine is being uh, despised by the whole world basically. And a lot of, I mean, Trump is still mentioning about vaccine, but at least there is that sort of a, he's saying about it, but it has to be a safe vaccine, so to speak. So meaning,
Well, then you've got to get rid of the pharmaceutical companies that have a monetary interest in vaccines that don't heal but keep people coming back.
yeah, and the weird thing about them are the patent as well. So, but then again, people are awake, people are aware of these things, so they're questioning. They don't just accept whatever is presented to them, unlike before. I mean, at least I don't know if my understanding is limited because I'm very much in the awakening process for more than a decade. So I'd like to think of myself as well aware of what's going on, but I'm not sure about other people. So, but then I see a lot of good things going on. To be honest with you, people are uh, helping each other now as well. There's a lot of people going to protest even in California, because of the lockdown. I don't know if you've seen those videos. So these are
I have.
these are the light that's being ignited, in places that are so dark.
And some people say that Hillary Clinton, they're now running out of clones, that she actually died some time ago. And they've been using the clones, but they can only create so many clones, and then they reach the end of the road, and who knows?
I wonder how many clothes she got, isn't it? Because it's so weird. There's a lot of photos of her online. It's a simple Google search if you just put her name and then look at the images. If you know what to look and where to look, and if you know how to compare photos, you can pretty much tell that this Hillary Clinton is different from that Hillary Clinton and from this other Clinton as well.
Well, they've also used doubles a lot.
Mhm.
For many people, there's been people that they get someone that looks very much like exact, maybe.
Yeah, I still find it difficult to believe about the cloning, thingy.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
know, but
have any proof.
I don't know about you, but but did they not mention that? I think they touched that in the movie Matrix, isn't it?
I think
Have
there
they?
was
I don't
something
remember.
along that line. There was certainly the red pill or the blue pill type of thing. Which do you want to see,
Yeah,
the reality, or do you want to keep living in the illusion?
that's what we are now. When we talk about the cloning thing, do we want to be red pilled or do we want to take the blue pill? Because that's just really is a difficult subject to tackle, isn't it? Unless you have an evidence, then you can believe it easily. Otherwise, you're going to a cognitive dissonance kind of mindset, because it's just so difficult to believe.
Keep going.
Yeah. So yeah. So I see a lot of hope going on. In Michigan, the people went to their capital as well, to the I don't know what you call them, but the government office, to pretty much demand to open businesses. And the same thing is going on in a lot of state as well. But the most
Well,
striking,
Florida now has businesses opening back up again.
where is that?
Florida has businesses opening back up again. I
I
mean,
think
I've
Florida,
seen it just in the past 2 days.
yeah, I think Florida has done well, isn't it, in the way they dealt with this whole thing. Uh, what was it? Michigan is problematic, but the people are protesting, so that is a hope that I see. The the best that I can see is California, really, because I come from California. I used to work and live there as well.
Where are you
And
actually living now?
well, I'm in transition at the moment. I'm in Nevada, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna end up here in Nevada or I'm going to Texas.
Wow.
So um, I'd like to,
You get around.
yeah. Well, I work hard, and I'd like to feel the fruit of my hard work in terms of my salary. But in California, you can barely see your hard work because there's so much taxation. There's county tax, there's state tax, and there's federal tax. And on top of that, of course, you have your sales tax, gas tax, and all sorts of taxes. So by the end of the pay period, you're pretty much left with not much. So
Well,
I'd
like
like,
even New York City has its own taxes in addition to the state taxes.
yeah, but in California they have state tax and they have city or county tax as well.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So you will end up with half of your salary gone by the pay period, and then the other half you have to wiggle around high rent and all that. So when I've learned that some places are tax free, I'd like to try it out and see if I like it. I know that Nevada and Texas are tax free, and I know that there are places that are you can get a cheap rent, and lifestyle is not that bad anyway. And uh, I'm looking into balancing work and life, so and the quality of life as well. It's not like renting a one bedroom in South San Francisco for about $1,300 for what was size, probably about 400 square meters, something like that.
Square feet.
Square feet, which is, I mean, very small place for 1,300, in which I understand that that amount you can get for depends in Nevada, where in Nevada, but you can get a two-bedroom or maybe even three-bedroom if it's a remote place of Nevada or Texas.
Yeah, my son has a friend that lives either in San Francisco or just outside of San Francisco, and the cost of living there is insane.
It is insane, and not only that, it's uh, I don't know. I'd rather not say it, but that's just the real picture of San Francisco: the homeless, the needles in the street, the the poos and the peas. It smells horrible, and all those.
Yeah, I just looked over at the clock ticking away and we're at 29 and a half minutes almost.
Ah, okay, fair enough. Because I know that you limit your video to 30 minutes, which is fair enough.
Around 30 minutes. I mean,
Yeah.
Aristo always goes over a couple minutes.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, I see there's a lot of hope, and I see that I'd like to think, and I'd like to say to the people that they should be hopeful as well for a better tomorrow, because that's what I'm saying in terms of people protesting. Benjamin Fulford have been saying that um, he'd been saying that there's an American Revolution, and I think it's a good thing because people really need to wake up, because America is, with all its faults and all that, but it's the only freest country in the world. I lived in Europe, I live in the UK, and I'm from the Philippines, so I can see the difference now. Americans are very much into freedom and liberty, and their constitutional rights and their sovereignty and all that, which is a good thing. So if America loses that,
The
I'm
world loses.
the world loses it. So I hope the Americans would really keep on fighting.
Yeah, me too. Although I don't want to take up weapons, but my weapon is creating videos.
Well, what was the saying about the pen being mightier than the sword?
Yeah.
But now it's a video that's being mightier than the sword, isn't it? Because you are powerful in a sense that you waking up people.
Yeah,
You don't know which person who's gonna be listening to a video who's gonna be really inspired to do something.
right. Exactly. Well, Francis, it's good connecting with you again, and I thank you for putting me in touch with some of your other friends, and look forward to making some videos with them as well.
And you,
So I
and
wish
thank you.
you.
I hope you invite the psychic lady from England to make a video with you.
Well,
Rose
I don't know
Moonfire.
that I've heard back from her or not, but yeah, there's lots of possibilities.
Yeah, that'll be exciting.
Yeah. Okay. Well, again, I thank you for your friendship and for putting me in touch with some people that I haven't been in touch with before. So much appreciated.
Thank you as well. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much.
Okay. Namaste.
Bye bye.